The new Kindle Scribe that just came out isn't actually new. Even though it looks new and looks different, it's still being called a first generation product, and all of the features that are coming with this new Kindle Scribe will be made available to the older Kindle Scribe via a software update. With that being said, even though this is not a second generation product, there are a ton of small little updates that have come to the new Kindle Scribe, and to the point where I really think it's an entirely new experience while using it. And after 2 years of owning a Scribe now, in just a week of this new one, I finally figured out how to integrate it into my daily workflow. The first thing I want to talk about is the design of the Kindle Scribe. Now, the only thing that's really unique to this 2024 model that is not available to the previous model is the physical exterior of the device. They made a few changes and updates, including a new pen as well. The new design, in my opinion, is significantly nicer and much more beautiful compared to before. The same size and dimensions are there. In fact, I'm using the same Kindle Scribe case as before on my new Scribe, but I really do think they changed the colors enough where it makes a big and noticeable difference while using the device. The biggest change that you'll notice between the old Scribe and the new Scribe are the new white bezels. Now, Amazon was trying to make this new model look more like a physical notebook. I think having those white bezels do a great job in achieving that. The only complaint that I have about these new white bezels is the fact that they do not exactly match the display. The display is more of a gray color, but these bezels are a pure white, so there is a slight difference. Another new design element of the 2024 Kindle Scribe is this jade color, and I've got to say I love the color a lot. I love how it just stands out, makes holding the device and using it much more fun. It adds a bit of playfulness to the device as well. I also really enjoy how the pen matches it. I also enjoy how it matches my Kindle Paperwhite. The only downside to the jade color is that it's only available in the higher storage capacity. If you get the baseline storage, which honestly most people don't need more storage, if you get the baseline, you'll be just fine. That only comes in the black color. But the good thing is both the black and the jade are going to be aluminum and metallic, so the quality and the premium feel will be the same regardless. The last design change that I want to talk about is the redesigned pen. Now, there's only one pen configuration. Before, they made you choose between a basic pen and a premium pen. Now there's only one option, and the cool thing is it's backwards compatible with the previous generation Kindle Scribe, or if you have the old Kindle Scribe, that pen will also work on the new one as well. I really do enjoy the new pen design quite a bit. I love how it comes in the same color that matches my Kindle Scribe in this jade color. I also really enjoy how it's no longer this very plasticky feeling pen. It's more of a metallic finish, so it feels a lot more premium. A cool feature about this pen as well is the fact that it charges completely on its own magnetically. There's no battery indicator or anything like that. You can't even see what the battery charge is. You simply snap it to the Kindle and it charges by itself. The biggest change with this pen is actually on the eraser tip. Previously, the entire pen was made of plastic, so when you would go to erase something on the screen, it would feel kind of weird rubbing a plastic tip on top of your screen, but now the actual eraser is made of rubber. It's very hard to describe this over a YouTube video, but when you use this new eraser on the Kindle Scribe, you have this temptation to want to wipe away the eraser marks like you would with a real pencil eraser, so they did a really good job making this feel as realistic as possible. Now, next up, I want to talk about the notebook experience on the Kindle Scribe. Now, with all these new features that came out in the software, I really do think the Kindle Scribe is going to be much more of an appealing option for people who want to replace physical pen and paper notebooks. Now, there are two new AI features that are being brought over to the Kindle Scribe. Again, this will be available on the new Kindle Scribe as well as the old one. Those two features are refined writing and summarization. Let me start with the refined writing feature. If you have messy handwriting like me, this will actually be a very welcome feature. Basically, what it does is it takes all the handwriting in your notes, in your notebooks, and cleans it up for you. It makes it look very nice and neat. The way it works is you press the refined writing feature, and then it'll take your page or your entire notebook and then send it up to the cloud. It does require a Wi-Fi connection for this. And then it'll clean up all the handwriting for you and send it right back to your Kindle Scribe, and you'll have the option to insert it at the end of your notebook. Now, I will say for the most part, this feature works very well. There were a few times where I tried using it and my handwriting was really messy and I couldn't really understand what it was, so I did the best I could. And I also think it'll work a lot better if you do a lot of linear writing or to-do lists. But if you do a lot of free-form writing or scribbles and things like that, it probably won't work very good for that purpose. Now, a quick note regarding privacy. When I attended the Kindle launch event, I did overhear one of the engineers talk about this, and they do not use your data for any AI training models or anything like that. So there is a secure connection between your notes and the cloud. The summarization feature works in a very similar fashion. You press the summarize button, it'll send either the page or the entire notebook up to the cloud. It'll summarize it for you, and then bring back a nicely formatted page, and you can insert that summary at the end of your notebook. Now, I do want to mention that both the summarize feature and refined writing feature have the ability to either upload the entire notebook, a single page, or you can go to the multi-page menu and select certain pages as well. They also do have some options to choose which font you want the handwriting to be in, as well as the size. So there is some customization, but it's very limited. Now, before moving on to the next section, I just want to say when I first got a Kindle Scribe, the first model when it first came out 2 years ago, I had a really hard time figuring out who this device was for. Is it for students, professionals, personal use? I really couldn't figure it out. It wasn't until I got this specific Kindle Scribe, the one that just came out this year, and started using it, that I realized that this device is much better used as a general notebook. Instead of trying to use it as a specific writing tool for one specific use case, I've begun using it as a general notebook, as a catch-all for everything. For example, I've been using the Kindle Scribe now during all my work meetings. I have it out. I just jot down random notes. It doesn't have to be nicely formatted or anything like that. Just very casual writing and notes so I can just better reflect on what's being said. I also use it in the mornings when I have random ideas come to my mind before I go to start the day. That's been really helpful as well. So I'm not using it as a journal. I'm not using it as a notebook for classes or anything like that. I'm just simply using it as a general notebook, and I find that is the best use case, at least for me. On the Scribe, you have the option to create multiple different notebooks. You can organize them in folders too if you want. So I have a notebook for my day job, and I have another one for my normal everyday use, and that seems to work just fine for me. And I also have to say that you have some features to let you export your notes if you want to your computer or your laptop. These export features are pretty limited. You're locked into the Amazon ecosystem for the most part. You can access all your notes and notebooks on the Kindle app on your phone, for example, but you can't edit them or anything like that. The only place you can edit your notes is on the Kindle Scribe itself. You can export them as a PDF to your email if you want, and you can also convert them to regular digital text, which is very handy. But outside of those features, there isn't much flexibility. I wish they would have some more integrations with third-party apps like Google Drive or Dropbox. That would make it a lot more useful and a bit more seamless to use for most people. But as of right now, you can only export them to your email. Now, next up, I want to talk about the reading experience on the Kindle Scribe. And before I talk about that, I gotta say, regardless of which Kindle you get, whether it's a Scribe or the other Kindles like the Paperwhite, what matters is reading books and having fun while you do it. Now, if you want to read a new nonfiction book with me every single month, I want to invite you to my nonfiction book club. It's called Presently Reading. Every month now for over 3 years, I've been reading a new book alongside a wonderful community of bookworms from around the world. Every week I share a lesson I learned from the book that I'm reading. It's been a very wholesome way to read books together. If that sounds interesting to you, link down below. It's a completely free book club. I look forward to seeing you there. Now, candidly, even though Kindles are meant for reading books, and this is a Kindle Scribe, I personally would not recommend the Scribe as a primary device for reading. I think the device is just a bit too big. With a 10-inch screen, it does feel a bit too large to read on. Don't get me wrong, the screen is very nice. It has the same screen quality that you would expect from all the other Kindles, very high resolution. You have the warm light as well. So it does work very well if you want it to, but it just feels a bit too difficult to read on. It's too hard to hold this thing when you're reading in bed, for example. It does work, but I don't recommend it. However, with that being said, if you are someone with a visual impairment, for example, or maybe you're reading some chunky technical books, having the larger screen on the Kindle Scribe might be the perfect use case for you. And there are actually some very new features that'll be really helpful for you as well while reading your books. The first new feature for bookworms is the active canvas feature. And I've got to say, this is a huge deal. The fact that this wasn't here before is really mind-boggling to me, but I'm happy that it's here now. You now have the ability to write and take notes in Kindle books Kind of. Just for comparison, if you send a PDF over to your Kindle Scribe, you have full control to write in it. You can mark it up, you can underline things, you can circle things, you can write in the margins, you can do all of these crazy things with the pen, and it just feels like a normal pen and paper experience. But when you read a Kindle book, that has not been the case. Previously, all we could do is use the sticky note feature and write little handwritten notes in there, but now we have the active canvas feature, which is way more flexible. It's still not as flexible as the markup feature, so you can't just go willy-nilly and start underlining and circling things left and right all over the page, but you can now insert a small little active canvas anywhere on the page, do whatever you want in the canvas. You can scribble in it, you can write in it, you can draw in it, then all the text from the book will wrap around your canvas. The cool thing about the active canvas is that it'll wrap the text around it, it'll stay in place, so that is the main thing about Kindle books. They are not like PDFs where they're just one fixed view. On a Kindle book, they are resizable, so if you adjust the font size, all the page numbers change and all of that, which is why this has been such a difficult problem before. But now with the active canvas feature, it'll stay locked in place even if you adjust the font size, even if you adjust any other formatting thing with the Kindle book. One downside of the active canvas feature, however, is the fact that you cannot view your active canvases anywhere else besides the Kindle Scribe. At least right now you can't. So I do hope they offer more support for either exporting these active canvases or being able to view them on other devices. Another new feature for bookworms that will be very welcome for a lot of people is the ability to underline text while you read. You can also use it as a highlighter if you want. I did try the underline feature. It works very well. You just drag across multiple lines. It'll make a nice straight line for you and snap it to the text. But the only downside of the underline is that it'll not sync with all your other notes. For some reason, they're kind of a separate feature from the highlights. I use an app called Readwise to sync all my Kindle highlights, and it really sucks because the underlines technically do not count as a highlight, so they're only stored on the Scribe itself. So just be aware of that if you use this feature. And one feature that I know is coming soon that's not here quite yet, but I got to use at the Kindle launch event back in October, is the margin feature. I've been told this is coming in early 2025, where you can now write in a bigger margin that's collapsible in your Kindle books. So it's an additional feature alongside the active canvas. I'll be sure to cover that when that feature comes out in a few months. At the end of the day, the Kindle Scribe is a wonderful notebook replacement. I've never been a pen and paper kind of guy, but with the Kindle Scribe, I find myself taking handwritten notes all the time. But again, I would not recommend this device for bookworms who primarily just want a reading Kindle. If that is you, I recommend the Kindle Paperwhite. I have a whole review on that Kindle as well. Link for that on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.